The Air Force One during the 9/11 attack. On September 11, 2001, the world witnessed one of the most tragic events in modern history as the United States came under attack by terrorists. The events of that day are etched into the collective memory of people worldwide. Amidst the chaos and devastation, the role of Air Force One, the aircraft designated to transport the President of the United States, became a critical part of the nation's response. This episode delves into the significance of Air Force One on 9/11, exploring its historical context, the events of the day, the strategic decisions made, and the implications for national security and presidential safety. The concept of presidential air travel dates back to the early 20th century. Before Air Force One, presidents relied on various forms of transportation, including trains and ships, for long-distance travel. The need for a dedicated aircraft became apparent with the increasing demands on presidential mobility and the advent of aviation technology. The first aircraft specifically designated for presidential use was a modified Douglas C-54 Skymaster, which President Franklin D. Roosevelt used during World War II. Named the Sacred Cow, this aircraft laid the foundation for future presidential planes. Subsequent aircraft, such as the Lockheed VC-121E Constellation, Columbine III, used by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, continued to enhance the capabilities and security of presidential air travel. The term Air Force One was officially adopted in 1953 during Eisenhower's presidency. It became the radio call sign for any aircraft carrying the President of the United States. The most famous iteration of Air Force One, a Boeing 747-200B, was introduced during the Reagan administration and has served several presidents since. Air Force One is more than just a means of transportation. It is a flying command center equipped with advanced communication systems, defensive measures, and luxurious accommodations to ensure the president can effectively govern while in transit. The aircraft is a symbol of American power and resilience, capable of flying for extended periods without refueling and withstanding various threats. On the morning of September 11, 2001, President George W. Bush was in Sarasota, Florida, visiting Emma E. Booker Elementary School to promote his education agenda. His schedule included a reading event with second-grade students, intended to showcase the importance of literacy and education reform. At approximately 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. The initial reports were unclear, with many believing it was a tragic accident. However, as the situation unfolded, it became evident that the nation was under attack. While President Bush was reading to the children, his chief of staff, Andrew Card, approached him and whispered in his ear, "A second plane hit the second tower. America is under attack." This moment, captured on camera, has become one of the most iconic images of 9/11. Despite the shock, President Bush remained composed and continued reading for several minutes before excusing himself to address the situation. As the scale of the attacks became clear, the Secret Service and military advisors recommended that President Bush leave Sarasota immediately. The president was swiftly escorted to Air Force One, which was waiting at Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport. The priority was to ensure the president's safety and maintain command and control capabilities. Air Force One took off at approximately 9:57 a.m. with no clear destination initially. The primary objective was to get the president airborne and out of immediate danger. The aircraft's advanced communication systems allowed President Bush to stay in constant contact with Vice President Dick Cheney, National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, and other key officials. Once airborne, several potential destinations were considered, including Washington, D.C., and military bases. However, the uncertainty of the situation and the potential threats to specific locations led to a decision to keep the president in the air for an extended period. The mobile nature of Air Force One allowed for flexibility and security during a rapidly evolving crisis. Air Force One is equipped with state-of-the-art communication systems, including secure phone lines, internet access, and satellite links. These capabilities were crucial on 9/11 as President Bush needed to communicate with key officials, including Vice President Cheney, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, and the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. The president and his team used these communication tools to gather information, make strategic decisions, and coordinate the response to the attacks. Despite the chaos on the ground, the communication infrastructure aboard Air Force One ensured a continuous flow of information and directives. As the commander-in-chief, President Bush faced numerous critical decisions on 9/11. These included authorizing the grounding of all civilian aircraft, a historic and unprecedented move to prevent further attacks. The president also had to consider the possibility of shooting down hijacked planes posing a threat to populated areas or critical infrastructure. The capabilities of Air Force One allowed the president to exercise his authority effectively despite being thousands of feet in the air. The secure and continuous communication with military and civilian leaders ensured that the president remained at the center of the decision-making process. The sight of Air Force One in the sky on 9/11 also had a significant psychological impact. It symbolized continuity of government and the resilience of the United States in the face of unprecedented attacks. The aircraft's presence reassured the American public and allies that the nation's leadership was active and responsive during the crisis. The first stop for Air Force One on 9/11 was Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. This decision was made to refuel and allow President Bush to address the nation. At approximately 11:45 a.m., Air Force One landed at Barksdale, and President Bush delivered a brief but firm statement condemning the attacks and assuring the American people that the government was functioning and would respond decisively. After refueling and delivering his statement, President Bush and his team reboarded Air Force One and headed to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. Offutt is home to the United States Strategic Command, STRATCOM, which provided a secure location for the president to continue managing the crisis. At Offutt, President Bush convened a meeting with the National Security Council via secure video teleconference. This meeting was crucial for assessing the situation, coordinating the response, and planning the next steps. The secure and fortified facilities at Offutt ensured the president's safety while maintaining command and control capabilities. As the day progressed and the immediate threats appeared to subside, discussions began about returning President Bush to Washington, D.C. The president was adamant about returning to the Capitol to demonstrate leadership and resolve. However, security concerns necessitated careful planning and consideration. At approximately 4:30 p.m., Air Force One departed Offutt Air Force Base for Andrews Air Force Base near Washington, D.C. The journey was tense, with heightened security measures and fighter jet escorts ensuring the president's safety. Air Force One landed at Andrews around 6:45 p.m., and President Bush was immediately flown by helicopter to the White House. At 8:30 p.m., President Bush addressed the nation from the Oval Office. His speech conveyed sympathy for the victims, condemned the terrorists, and assured the American people of a firm response. The address was a pivotal moment, signaling the resolve of the United States to recover from the attacks and pursue those responsible. The events of 9/11 underscored the importance of Air Force One as a critical asset in national security and crisis management. Following the attacks, several enhancements were made to the aircraft to further improve its capabilities and security. These included upgrades to communication systems, defensive measures, and onboard facilities to ensure the president could effectively govern under any circumstances. Air Force One played a vital role in ensuring continuity of government on 9/11. The aircraft's ability to function as a mobile command center allowed the president to maintain leadership and coordinate the response despite being away from Washington, D.C. This capability is crucial in ensuring that the executive branch remains operational during crises, whether natural disasters, attacks, or other emergencies. The experiences of 9/11 led to several policy changes and improvements in national security protocols. These included enhanced coordination between federal agencies, improved communication systems, and more robust contingency planning for various scenarios. The role of Air Force One in these plans remains central, ensuring that the president can lead effectively regardless of location. Air Force One's role during the events of September 11, 2001, highlights its critical importance in national security, presidential safety, and crisis management. The aircraft's advanced capabilities, strategic flexibility, and symbolic presence underscored the resilience and resolve of the United States during one of its darkest days. As a flying command center, Air Force One ensured that President George W. Bush could maintain leadership, make crucial decisions, and communicate effectively with key officials. The lessons learned from that day have led to significant enhancements in the aircraft's capabilities and broader national security protocols, ensuring that the president and the nation are better prepared for future challenges. The legacy of Air Force One on 9/11 is a testament to the importance of preparedness, resilience, and the enduring strength of American leadership in the face of adversity.